and Jam. So another Shovel Knight in Meeles. And Meeles definitely been showing up in a few of the more recent main brackets, with this one being a little bit more stacked. Wasn't quite able to make it to main, but I do remember it being like one of the tougher pools. So I'd say Meeles definitely coming into this bracket as one of the more notable players.
See how Meeles is gonna go down versus Jam. A winner of this phases possibly. We might see a mirror match for SK for the next round if we can. Doesn't have anything to do about it or say about it.
You might, yeah. And yeah, this is definitely a bit of a predicament for Jam, because this is, at least at this level, it does kind of stay difficult. This is a hard matchup for Wrastor, like a surprisingly hard one. Shovel Knight is just so good at killing that a lot of lightweight characters, unless they have ways to zone him out super hard, which is largely just Absa, they can struggle against Shovel Knight a lot.
Once again, momentum nail gonna be the name of the game. Getting it as soon as possible, actually trying to get some, well, for lack of a better word, momentum when it comes to movement. Dash attacks are going to be longer. Wave dashes can be extended as well just because of the mail. Jam trying to get some stuff going, but up special is going to be the call for the SK.
Yeah.
Beautiful movement done so far, 130% onto 79. So, what type of moves can the Wrastor actually go for? Like you mentioned before, this could be a difficult matchup when it comes to actually getting up close and personal versus SK's tools.
Yeah, so in neutral, back when I played Shovel Knight, I always kind of struggled the most with dealing with Wrastors that were able to just kind of stay in my face, not give me much of a chance to like step back and try to play neutral at my own pace. Though Shovel Knight in general is also pretty weak to being platform camped. So it's definitely possible to just, you know, like, use your mobility in your favor and not let Shovel Knight hit you. It's kind of tricky because it is hard to contest a lot of Shovel Knight's moves. Very tricky character to whiff punish a lot of the time.
Jam actually turning it up a little bit when it comes to the second stock. 1-2 back airs for 52%. Trying to parry that up special, but lands on the platform that time. Actually going for down strong, but it's not quite gonna be enough. Meeles are looking pretty good to close it out. Been waiting for it a little bit more. 101% onto the Wrastor. You see, it's Skedaddle Skadoodle. I control neutral with that neutral beat. Meeles with 132%. Gotta use that propeller sword. Once again, Skedaddle Skadoodle.
Yeah.
See if the Wrastor can actually get it.
We haven't really seen Jam try to parry the gear, have we?
No.
Yes, that's kind of the main thing. SK is able to bait you into, like, trying to parry gear, and punish you for that. So I'm not sure if we've really seen Meeles going for that so far.
Recognition on Meeles parrying. Going for up strongs, getting a little reckless maybe. These couple of dodges around, nevertheless, a good forward strong. Now, even though we saw that at the beginning there was a pretty much dominance by Meeles, Jam actually managed to bring it back right at the end of it. Just try to get some less percent when it comes to the extra credit of that stock, and we could see a good set on our hands.
We definitely could, yeah. And something I definitely want to focus on this game is Jam's advantage state. Is no surprise, that's always going to be a big chunk of Wrastor, is just how terrifying his punishes are. But it's also one of the reasons the character is kind of tricky to pick up.
They say one more time, a couple of up airs for 49%. Actually using that platform movement, get some stuff going, like you mentioned before. Now Jam seems to be cooking something up. Actually not falling for that mix-up onto the SK, holding to the side. You did mention that you have to hold the eye in for that?
The eye down. And
the eye
it
down.
actually didn't necessarily look wrong.
Okay.
I'm not sure, that might have been one of those situations where, like, you would have had to also SDI down to not get, or to live. Because sometimes galaxies are like that. But Either way, Jam able to even the game back up.
And momentum now. The best tools SK has on their disposal.
Yeah.
Reaches out the movement. Can survive a lot more, and could be difficult for Wrastor, like you mentioned before, trying to look for the advantage state when it comes to that, but Forward Strong is going to do it by SK.
And again, that's just one of those things you have to be ready to DI it. You know, it can be hard to react to getting hit and like what move you got hit with exactly. So I always recommend at least sometimes preempting your DI. And in situations like that, it's not too hard to know what the SK is going to look for.
Yeah, holding out a little more, and it's a good adaptation done by Jam as well. We are seeing the forward tilts coming out by SK, but he's not actually trying to press any type of button that makes him have some sort of commitment. They're just waiting for SK to do something before actually just holding back a little bit. And that way the combinations for SK or the mix-ups are now working on them as well as they were at the beginning.
Jam was able to even up the stocks. Most of his punishes haven't been super strong though. Yeah, nothing off the dash attack. Can be one of the more awkward starters, depending on where exactly you hit the dash attack.
Yeah, like you mentioned before, Cyber, the advantage state by Wrastor is definitely going to be the key if you want to get, especially when it comes versus Meeles SK in particular. Getting a couple of hits in right on the air, but not being able to follow up consistently, it could be a problem when it comes to actually trying to get some games in for this set.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of the thing with Wrastor is like he has such amazing neutral and such amazing punishes that you don't have too much wiggle room to actually use neutral, and you know, he's so light, he really just can't eat too many combos before even just like random stray moves are gonna start killing him. I think we're kind of seeing where like I don't think Jam's neutral is too bad, but most of the time he's not getting the best punishes. Gates is gonna be our pick for game 3, which I don't think is terrible. I never know quite how good this stage is for Wrastor on the whole. Obviously this is the Throne Orc stage, so there are some Wrastors that really like it.
So trying to prepare himself to preemptively trying to parry it, but Jam actually tosses the tornado onto the side, actually trying to get some solid ground combos in with an advantage of over 23% now as we continue to see those forward tilts coming out by the Wrastor. And good juggling done so far.
Yeah, I would have liked to see an attempt to use Slipstream in that combo right there. If you have it in your arsenal, that little hit really does enable Wrastor to just keep his strings going, especially with the speed boost you got.
Yeah, they definitely found something when it comes to actually using jab to get those combinations in. You need to be careful though, not to get too hit and missing that tech. We see Jam actually taking the lead this time.
And there it is, like Shovel Knight's range is one of his greater strengths. And you know, that back air from Meeles is gonna be so hard for Jam to ever contest.
24% extra credit. Definitely not enough if you're facing against Meeles.
Yeah.
Pretty much an even game so far. And once again, those forward tilt constant traps by SK, they can be so difficult to deal with at any level per se.
Going for the NATO, not able to hit it high enough for it to kill, and now Meeles has the momentum now, so things are going to get a lot harder for Jam. But Meeles missing another attack.
Yeah, not if Jam has anything to say about that. Actually, forward strong by SK, not quite going to be enough so far. Up strong either for 89%.
Yeah.
It's going to be so important for Jam actually to get some percentage going, but unfortunately, no extra credit for that stock.
Yeah, it looks like he DI'd out. Just going all the way across the stage.
Now it's going to get a little annoying for Wrastor too. Neutral special done by SK, actually controlling the ground. While the air movement, you're just gonna have those disjointed hitboxes done by SK. The range is gonna be so difficult for you to deal with. Momentum nail, and then some. But now Jam actually responding back with a couple of up airs. Good tech as well, but doesn't get to convert after the slipstream. Like you mentioned, it's gonna be so important for Wrastor.
Yeah,
Advantage
so,
state.
like, right there, yeah, again, just not being ready for the DI. With that last combo Jam had, I think that was a really good string, except for the fact that he started it with the slipstream. He didn't really use slip that much for, like, the first couple hits. It would have been a lot better to just take that neutral win, without slip, and then save it to aid in the punish. And I think with slipstream, there would have been a way for Jam to find the up clap and seal out that game. But that's just kind of how it goes if you make those wrong judgments with Wrastor. Sometimes you just can't really recover from it, unfortunately.
Moving on, and we have a SK mirror match for winners finals. So that's gonna be Jammin